Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Life of Barney. Today we're going to be making some pork tenderloin on the gas grill. And it is windy out there. So anytime I'm out of the grill, I'm probably going to have to do some voiceovers because I really don't think you will hear a word I'm going to say. Roll the intro. The name of the game is Hot and Fast. I'm aiming for 450 to 500 degrees on the gas grill. I have seasoned this with salt and an Italian herb and spices blend. Here is a pro beginner tip that I actually got from an actual pro. Is if you don't like how all of the spices and seasonings you put on get all gummed up and juiced up on the meat when you put them on, put the salt on first. Then let the meat sit for about 30 minutes so the salt can actually soak into the meat because it will actually dissolve. Your seasonings and spices won't. This way they won't get all soggy on the outside and fall off by the time they get onto the grill. Going to be pairing the pork tenderloin with some chopped sweet potato that's been oiled and salted. And we'll also be blanching these sugar snap peas. I've overshot my target. That's okay. I'll turn it down a bit. But for the beginning, that's fine because I want to get a good sear on the pork tenderloin. Let's get these bad boys on here. Something you have to consider when you are doing some grilling out in the wind. It's very similar to colder temps, but in the wind in particular, because barbecues aren't fully sealed, a lot of that wind ends up blowing in to the barbecue. So because the wind right now is coming from the west, which is the left side of my barbecue, I'm actually favoring the right side for these two pork tenderloins that are in there, just to shield any of the meat that may have been up against that left side of the barbecue. It's a iffy strategy, but it should hold out in just keeping it away from any of the cold air that's blowing in. I'm also using a 3-burner barbecue. So the fewer burners that your barbecue has and the bigger the cooking surface, your barbecue may have a hard time where the air is being forced in, the cold air in particular, at keeping it up to temperature. So you may have to increase the temp or increase your heat to high or a higher setting on the side that the wind is blowing on, just to compensate for the cool air coming in. And of course, Scout here wants me to throw the ball. Here. Good dog. Come on, Scout. Good doggy. I've done my first flip. I'm going about 2 to 3 minutes aside. We'll see how that goes for pieces of meat this thick. You can see the grill marks are pretty good. They're better on the one at the back. It's a little cooler towards the front of the barbecue, so on the next flip I may switch these around. I seem to have hit the sweet spot right between 450 and 500. I'm happy with that. Pork tenderloin's got a nice sear to it. As you can see, the center and right burner I've got on kind of like a medium-high heat. And the leftmost burner, which is the direction that the wind is coming from, I've got it turned up almost all the way to be able to maintain that. It's pretty windy out. Hopefully you guys can hear me nice and clear, or I'm going to have a lot of voiceover work to do. Now it's time to crack open a nice buble. Cherry ones kind of taste like Dr. Pepper. I don't know if you guys ever drank Dr. Pepper. I used to love Dr. Pepper and Cherry Coke. I don't know. They're sort of similar, I guess. Cheers. Hope everybody's off to a great start for the week. All right, the pork tenderloins are just about done. I'll show them to you guys in just a minute. They're sitting around 135. I'm going to pull them between 145 and 150. And before you come after me in the comments, there's all kinds of discussion on whether you should cook pork to 160. In Canada, usually the guideline is up to 160, but it depends on what cut of pork you're doing. If you're doing like ground pork, then yeah, it should be up to 160. Don't take my word for it. There's this old thing on the internet called Google, and there's more than enough sources of information, and everybody's got their opinion, and you know what they say about opinions. The tips are pretty much done until about halfway up. Once you get to the end, they're cooking a lot slower. If you find that your thicker ends are cooking slower, you can always wrap the smaller ends in tin foil, or you commit the atrocity of cutting it in half, getting the done stuff in before it's overdone, and leave the thicker parts on. I try not to do that because you start losing juices where you cut it. Pork tenderloin's been pulled. Pulled them around the 150 Fahrenheit mark. We've got the water just coming up to a boil to blanch the sugar snap peas. They're only going in the boiling water for maybe a minute to a minute and a half. They're still crunchy, but there's just something about warm, crunchy sugar snap peas. Just a little salty, they're delicious, and the sweet potatoes already came out. Pork's been resting for about 5 minutes. It's time to open it up, see how it did. So you guys come on in here. All right, let's cut into these. We'll see how they look on the inside. That looks fantastic. That's kind of funny. In all the excitement of making that pork tenderloin, I forgot to film a closer for the episode. So it's actually a couple hours after that last segment. I just wanted to say thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like to make pork tenderloin, drop a comment down below. Let me know what kind of seasonings you like to use, or what your favorite or your go-to cooking method is. And let's have a discussion about it down in the comments. If you enjoyed the content, hit like, and I'm just getting this channel going again. So hit the subscribe button, guys, and you'll see more content that I'm doing. More barbecue, like grilling, backyard life, dad life, you know, great stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. And don't tell my parents I was smoking in the backyard. I'll see you in the next one.